guys, welcome back to the channel. This will be part 2 for Christian Aponte in Florida. He has his computer with no injectors, so he approved the repairs, and I have now everything ready. You see the computer is in the bench open, so let me move you over to the next screen, which is the view of the computer. This is a EK01 for Lightning. All right, so the EK01 is the tier tag that's very unique to the modules, so on these fours. All right, so let me put the scanner in the full probe and let's connect to the vehicle. Let's see the VIN number on him. Look for it because I don't have, I think it's a 2003. Yeah, if I remember, these computers will be only on the 2000. It's actually a 2002. Yeah, 2002 Harley Davidson edition. And this one was no injectors. If the number should be CA7624. CA7624. Yep, that's what we have in here. All right, so let's go into engine. I'm just going to select the accessories on the data display just to show the RPMs, because that's the most important part in here. These are just submenus, very unique to Snap-on. I'm using the Snap-on SUS for the test on this one. And the only reason I use this one is because it has a graph that shows in different colors. So you see that line that I now open on there. When the computer runs, it will show a different color on the background. I also have underneath of that the full probe, which is the simulator that I use. It has a nice software that has a simulation of injectors firing, but it's actually connected to the actual firing of the injectors, and so is the coil. So it's showing only 2 spark plugs and 4 injectors, even though this is 80 injectors and 8 coils, and I have to live with that. That's what the software gives. I also have the meters on the left side, which the upper one on the left is the battery voltage, and the one next to it on the right side is the sensor voltage, which is showing 5.1 volts and 13.3 volts. So everything is correctly in there. All right, let's run this, and we can see immediately the computer running in injectors. I also can show you the loads itself that I'm using for this. If I remove the SUS for 1 second, you can see behind this pole, those I'm hitting in there. Those flickering lights in here, those are the injectors and the coils. Blue coils, green injectors, and thing is on the top. A little bright because of the light that I have there. Let me. Yeah, now you can see a little better, and I think the camera adjusts really well to the to the light on the room. I have another light on the other end. But yeah, so you can see I have all connected, all the 8 injectors and all the 8 coils, and everything is now working perfectly. So I can see all injectors and all the coils working 100%, which increased computer. That was his concern, no injectors whatsoever. He also said, and that's one thing that I forgot to mention on the first part, that if he added, like a propane or some sort of a fuel source on the engine through a spray or something, the car will start and run. Obviously, he has to keep spraying and spraying and spraying to keep it running. But it was definitely no fuel, and a spark was there. So definitely that's something we can now see the computer running perfectly. I'm going to turn it once again. So I'm going to turn the ignition off, and I can do that all with the full probe. All right, let's run it once again, and we can see. And if I move you over to the capture, and the reason I put you here, so you can see also the RPMs on the instrument cluster. Oh, forgot to put the SUS, right? Come on. Yeah, but in the SUS you can see a nice and even RPM, that's what I put that graph in there. So the upper part on the right side on the SUS is the window on the upper part, and this full probe is the one on the bottom with the injectors, right? So that capture, I'm going to turn the RPMs off 1 second so you can see the difference. All right, so it will drop to 0, right? Because we got no RPM. So you see, that's a nice graph to show you from the distance. So you have to be right next to the screen to see what's going on. All right, let's run it once again. And this is just a test that I want to do, 700 RPMs or so we can see an even RPM and also injectors and coils happening all the time. This is how I check this computer. And I have actually loads that I can connect to the computer when it comes to a problem of a specific driver or an injector that is not firing. I do have the real loads. Let me show you. So this is a tool, I mean, real injectors. I just keep it in this. It came with this nice foam in here. And I made this harness on the back where I can provide a constant power, right? I have the power on this wire. And then each injector signal that I can connect to the same harness, I design or redesign this to go like this so I can have a better test. Because I got almost burned with a computer that I was doing a test on another vehicle. Wow, the lighting got changed, or the camera adjusted a lot better to the light. Now it's changing slowly. Yeah, that A7S3 is a little better for the dark than the A71, but or the A1, sorry, and it's working good as well. But yeah, so yeah, like I said, I have tested everything, all the injectors, drivers, and everything is working properly. And the reason I do use this for the video is just because it's a visual that I can show you all. But I do have, again, all the 8 injectors, and also I created this to test. I can only check, 5 coils, 5, because inside here it's actually 4 2-wire coils. I have 5, and I think it's enough, right? So you don't need to have the 8 coils to really test all the drivers. I can have loads on 3 and then connect 5 in here and then, reconnect, because otherwise I will have to have a enormous box with all this. And I did the same thing, when I have my connections on the back and this wiring in here, when I have the power and the ground for the spark, right? Because that spark is 40,000 volts. It's a very short time, right? But it is a very high voltage spark. So that has to go into the ground and not the ground on my tools to earth. And that's why I don't use this too often, because it really messes up with the computers. It creates a noise because, everything in here, computers and all the equipment, it has a ground point. And so that ground point can enter noise, and that can make flickers and damage, information on computers. So I use this only when I really need to, as far as coil drivers. And I have a special wire that I run into a ground, earth ground, to dissipate that, and it's no longer here. So, but yeah, so it is the only way, because it was very, very noisy. I don't want it to connect it to the actual one in the house, because it is a mess. But yeah, so this is exactly what, and it has a switch. So this is something I got from Amazon, and I got a little box, and I put coils inside, and I put the spark plugs and everything in there. It can be adjusted, and this can be lifted, and I can adjust the height of this knob to make sure that the ground for each spark plug is really good. So it has a thread in here. That's what I'm spinning right now to make sure that all the spark plugs are set up good when I'm using it, right? And I can always open and relocate, because it is on the boot of the coil, but it works good for this. All right, so, well, as you can see, in the meantime that I'm showing you these tools and talking, you can see that the computer is running well and the RPMs are good. All right, Christian, you already paid and everything for the repair, and here I got the approval on an email and everything. And I also want to let you guys know, due to the amounts, credit card companies sometimes require that I need to have a copy of the ID of the customer. So please don't get upset with me. It's just, since it's a payment online, it's just a requirement. and that is sometimes necessary. All right, guys. Thank you so much, Christian. Thank you so much for your business. I look forward to helping you in the future. See you next time. Bye bye.